John Razimus here with Hoax Hunter and Occult Unmasked. This is a combination, to a certain extent, because is this a hoax? Or is this authentically someone who studied the occult, / extraterrestrials, or interdimensional beings? By now, you have probably heard of Bruno Borges, if that's how you pronounce his name correctly. He's from Brazil. He's the missing student from Brazil. Very famous videos, going viral. This is one of the first videos posted about him on this YouTube channel. And is it a hoax or not? I can tell you, my first impression, my immediate within seconds of seeing this video, my very first impression was it was maybe an art project, maybe a final for his art class. I mean, he is a student, and this does look like a room with no bed. So what is this? It looks like Brandon Young said an art installation. It definitely does look like an art installation, and as a matter of fact, according to the description, and I can't even confirm this much, Bruno borrowed $8,000 so he could purchase the statue and perhaps commission the paintings of him and aliens, or him wearing the white robe with the occult symbols. Bruno wrote, I don't even know how many, 12 manuals full of information. The artwork is definitely high quality, I'll say that much. I mean, the people who painted it, it looks pretty cool. It's pretty cool artwork. So that is the video. But there's an alchemy-looking symbol with a statue. And who is that statue? Let's take a look. Here is the alien and Bruno in front of the alien. They both have these occult symbols in their eyeballs. Let's see. Some people were saying it was part of this Cicada 3310 game, puzzle, anonymous group. And this group is connected with esoteric things, from magic squares to different types of esoteric connections, but probably for an internet game reason. So did Bruno post the Cicada 3310 image? And a lot of people say he did. They say, here it is. And perhaps he did plop it on there. It doesn't prove anything. I don't think he had any connection to the Cicada 3310 people. But he seems to have studied magic squares. He seems to have studied the Kabbalah. He seems to have studied psychotically. Or does he just want us to think that? It has kind of the number 23 movie vibe, starring Jim Carrey, who crazily wrote the number 23 on his walls and just messages of insanity all over the place. But it's nice and neat and orderly, and he obviously used a ruler to really nice and neatly draw these different designs. I could tell you this much. This part on the wall reminds me a lot of the Kabbalah, the different stages in Kabbalah, the different realms, or the different entities, or the different names of angelic or demonic, depending upon your perspective. There's a tree of life and a tree of death, supposedly the same thing, or the inverse. So I think he studied a lot of different things. These on the ceiling look kind of like magic squares. And as far as the manuals, he has these manuals numbered with giant red lettering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Roman numerals, up to what looks like 12. And the police confiscated them. But thanks to this video, people were able to translate it? Or were people able to translate it? I'm very skeptical. I'm a very skeptical person, okay? The father of the young man made a video, and
Olá, pessoal.
it doesn't look like he's acting. It looks like he's legitimately depressed, but perhaps he is an actor. I don't know. But, wow, he looks like he has his own business. Look at that. Mason Borges. So perhaps his dad is rich. Perhaps his dad doesn't want the son to be an occultist, into UFOs, into aliens, into Kabbalah, into any esoteric fields of magic study, interdimensional entities. Perhaps he thinks his son is dropping a bunch of acid to come up with something like this. Or is it an art installation? I could tell you one thing. I was puzzled by this, other than thinking it's probably not necessarily a prank, but more of an art piece. Doesn't it look like something you would see at a modern museum of art? A room that looks like this? It definitely has a modern art feel to it. Perhaps he was dead serious. It's really hard to say. So I was in between. So I read as many of these articles as I could. I had to translate them into English. And Bruno, he was a big fan of the philosopher Giordano Bruno, probably because they share the same name, Bruno. I'm not familiar with this philosopher. I don't know much about him, but supposedly this statue cost multiple $1,000s. Some people suspect Bruno is inside of the statue, and it's big enough for someone to be in there, but no, I seriously doubt that. So what's the point of drawing on the walls and the ceilings? You know, that does have an interdimensional, higher dimensional entity feel to it. Because entities see the world, our third dimensional world, a little bit differently than we do. And I've heard many people who go into the astral realms say they see writing all over the walls in strange characters. As far as the strange characters drawn up by Bruno, they have been deciphered. But this is the huge tip-off, the huge reason why I lost interest in the story. Or I didn't crack it, but someone cracked it thanks to the cipher being revealed, thanks to Bruno just leaving the cipher, the code cracking key right here on his keyboard. It's a little too convenient. It's lazy. If Bruno wanted this to be a secret, which he clearly didn't, because he put the cipher, the key to deciphering all of the texts, which he wrote in a code, but a very, very, very weak code, which he gives the answer to right here on his keyboard. So within seconds, anyone can translate it, which tells me it's a little more like a joke than it is serious. Take it as you will. Maybe it's not a joke. I can definitely say he spent a lot of time on it. So I respect the time and effort he put on it. Shoot, if I were to submit this as an art final, I'd probably get an A+. He would probably get an A+. Art-wise, this is a lot of work. A crap load of work just to physically draw the circles and the designs, physically draw all of this text. But what is the text? In my opinion, things changed when I saw this keyboard cipher. It told me that it's less serious than people are making it out to be. And the one page that was photographed and shown was translated easily, and this is what it says. For thousands of years, the human being has been trying to find answers to questions such as, what is the meaning of life? The philosophy, which seems to have begun with tales of Miletus in the middle of 700 BC, seems to find traces of unanswered questions. The deep search for absolute truth comes from philosophy, and when we talk about easy or difficult paths, we are referring to this type of theorem. And it continues on in that vein, but more specifically, someone translated one of the walls. And he was even cornier and even cheesier than that. I can't find it at this exact moment. This is part 1 of the missing Brazilian student whose name is Bruno Borges. So part 2, I'm going to show a little more, or at least whatever the updates are. If this guy is found, I'm going to update. Someone in Brazil will probably break this story, and maybe the translation will cause a lot of buffer time in between. America might not find out for 1 or 2 weeks after Brazil finds out if it was a hoax, or if it was an art project, if it was a kid becoming obsessed with the occult. This title says witch hunt, but maybe in Brazil they're hunting him like a witch. At least in America, we're not hunting him like a witch in any way, shape, or form. A lot of people are impressed. A lot of people think what he did was interesting, intriguing. From an occult perspective, I can say it looks like he has, at least loosely, studied possibly alchemy sigils. Unless he made that up. Someone said that reminds them of a cartoon, but a lot of cartoons these days incorporate actual sigils from medieval texts. It doesn't mean they're real or fake. They're just very popular. I've never specifically seen that exact one, though, so I can't match it up. As far as this painting, he's holding an ankh, and there's a Rosicrucian cross on the wall. And as far as the symbols, I can't see them up close right here, but I wasn't too impressed by them. If I had to guess, the 4 symbols represent the 4 elements, just like the movie The Fifth Element. In Wicca, in a lot of witchcraft circles, a lot of occult circles, we have fire, we have the wind, we have earth, and we have water. And those are the 4 main elements that represent a lot of different things of power. If I had to guess, it would have something to do with that. I could be wrong, but it has been widely reported in Brazil. I wish I could get better photographs of this stuff. It looks like this news station did get some pretty good photographs. What he's saying is he knows the secret of the universe, the secret of life. A very broad, generic statement which I do not take seriously. But perhaps he did meet an interdimensional entity. I can tell you this. The occult is real. Meditating and or taking substances to spontaneously jump into another dimension or have other dimensional entities come to you is a real phenomenon. I do believe in it. I've never meditated to an extreme degree and had anything happen to me. I've never taken drugs or any substances and had anything to happen to me. I was simply resting in my bed when I had contact with higher dimensional entities. I'm not going to go into that, and I was not asleep, but in that dazed sleep state, you can encounter these other dimensional entities. I can tell you this. I picked up a MUFON book or magazine, or I think it's the newsletter, an old 90s MUFON newsletter, and they focus on UFOs, the Mutual UFO Network newsletter. And it talked about the connection between the occult and aliens. Perhaps that's the breakthrough that happened to him. Perhaps that is his breakthrough. I don't know. But I've known the connection between the two of those for many years. I would say I've been suspicious and suspected the connection since at least 2010. For 7 years, I've been pretty well aware that there is a connection between demonic entities or higher dimensional entities and aliens, and they're the same thing, one and the same, in my opinion, which is unprovable. But in part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you the MUFON manual from the 90s, which reluctantly talks about the occult and aliens and the connection between the two. And I will give an update whatever news breaks on this missing student, if he's even missing. We don't know if he's missing or not. Perhaps he's dodging his cousin, who he borrowed $8,000 from to construct these things. But the statue, we don't know if it's commissioned or if he just bought it from someplace. Looks like a random statue you would see outside or at a church or something. Looks pretty expensive. And this is very low resolution. I will find higher resolution videos and images and try to get translations. If anyone is from Brazil, please let me know. How is this news being mentioned to you on the news? Is it mentioned in a joking manner? Have they found him? Are there rumors that he just did it as a publicity stunt? Because it most definitely is having that snowball effect of receiving a lot of publicity in the paranormal realms in America. He could be a guest on any paranormal show in the United States in seconds. So he's received a lot of attention, and I'm going to continue to investigate. I'm not going to even pretend I know the answer to this mystery. Perhaps he did meet an alien. And aliens are a little bit different than what people think they are. They're demonic entities, in my opinion, or higher dimensional entities. But this entity clearly has his hand on his shoulder, and it is his left shoulder. And there are designs, this is a low-res image, but there are designs in the alien's eye. Can't get a better resolution, but I have seen higher res in Google Images. Part 2, I will have more information. I thank you for watching. This has been John Razimus with Occult Unmasked and Hoax Hunter. Be seeing you.